Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kirsten and I'm a money mindset coach for Black women, helping them to change their mindset around money so they can live a life that they love. In today's video, I'm super excited. As requested, I'm going to do a cost of living video. I'm first going to do this video on Panama City, because that's where I lived, and talk about my experiences there and the cost of living. I'm going to use two sources to help with the numbers. I'm going to use Nubio. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'll link it below, which is a great website to use. If you are planning on moving abroad, it does the cost of living for so many different countries, and it gives a really good breakdown of what the cost is to live in that particular country. And then I'm also going to use International Living, as well, as they are a publication that focuses on retiring and living abroad. And you'll want to stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to lower your cost of living if you decide to move to Panama City or anywhere else in the world. Okay, so we're going to start really big and then kind of go small. So start with the big expenses and then work our way down to the smaller expenses. So according to Nubio, I still don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. For a family of four, the estimated cost, according to their calculations, was about $2,680 monthly without rent. So I'm gonna let you think what you want about these numbers. Yeah, when a single person estimated their monthly cost was around $630.39. Actually, sorry, I was doing that in euros. $745 without rent is the monthly cost for a single person. I can't remember my monthly cost in general. I probably calculated it somewhere, but I know that when I was living in Panama City, I had roommates and we had rented a 2-bedroom place for about $1,100. So most 2-bedroom places, and according to International Living, a 2-bedroom apartment in the central area, kind of in the center of Panama City, is going to cost you around $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And so keep in mind that if you live in the center of Panama City where all the action is, the cost of living is definitely going to be higher. But there are a lot of people, friends that I know, friends that I have, that live on the outside of the city, and the cost of living is a lot lower. The rent is a lot lower. So now let's talk about utilities. So I remember that internet I paid I think about $50 a month for internet, and it was good after a while. I ended up having to get my internet cable box modem thing replaced because it kept going out, and that was a problem. But after we got it fixed, it was very reliable and fast. So the thing is with the internet, just do your research, and I can't remember the internet company that I had. If I do, I will link it below. But I would suggest hopping onto a Facebook group and asking people about the internet service that they have. I think most of the internet services in Panama are going to give you around the same price and give you the same amount of speed. However, I know with my experience, most of the time you had to give like a deposit for the modem, and then you're supposed to get the deposit back at the end when you return the modem. That did not quite work with me to pick up my deposit. They couldn't mail it to me. They said I had to come back to the shop and pick it up. And then when I did pick it up, luckily I was able to come back. They did not give me the full price that I paid for the modem. So it happens. I'm not saying that all internet companies are like that, but just do your research, ask around. There are tons of people that would love to share their experience with internet. So just go pop into a Facebook group or a message board and ask about internet. with utilities and like electricity is pretty basic. The nice thing is, if I always try to find a place that is very luminous and it has a lot of natural light so that you don't use a lot of electricity during the day. So I always recommend that. But the biggest electricity expense that you might have is running the AC. So you have to be careful about how long you're running the AC and what times of the days, because I definitely know people that have gotten charged outrageous prices because they kept the AC going for so long. Yeah, most with heating, you don't have to really worry about heating because it's hot all year long in Panama. And the only type of heating that you'll have to be concerned about is the hot water heaters. And they're usually older tanks than you would see in the US. So they're kind of old fashioned. So International Living predicts that you will spend about $60 to $150 a month when it comes to electricity and utilities. So if you're finding this information helpful, which I hope that you are, please take a moment and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And at the end of the video, if there is anything that I didn't cover that you want to know about, one, you can go check it out at Numio, or leave me a comment and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. What did I want to do next? Next, we have groceries, which is probably one of my biggest expenses till this day, because I love to eat and I like to cook. So when it comes to grocery shopping, a lot of the times you're going to go to a bigger supermarket. And the bigger supermarkets are going to cost you a little bit more. International Living suggested $400 to $500. But that all depends on how much you eat and who you're feeding. Some of the local prices, as shown on Nubio, eggs are around $2 for a dozen. A bottle of wine, mid-range, can be $10. Milk is around $1.51. So what I find is more cost efficient is going to a local market where you can get not only fresh food, but you can get a lot of food for a very low cost. Like, you can literally go into a fresh market with $10 and buy 2 weeks worth of, or buy a week's worth of fruit and still have money left over. The only thing is, if you buy from a local market, it's like you're going to need to either freeze it or you're going to have to use what you bought right away, just because it comes, you know, from the ground to the little wooden stand that they're selling it on. Next is transportation. So with transportation, as I mentioned it in my last video, I can link it up above. When I moved to Panama City, I walked everywhere, which, you know, you can do that for free, but it's not always comfortable walking everywhere. So the main transportations, if you don't have a car, is either the metro, which is limited. And the metro, you can get a metro card, and I think rides were like some ridiculously low price of like 60 cents or something like that. But like, when it's a very short metro, it's not going to take you through every part of Panama. It's probably going to take you only within the city limits. I know when I was there, they were working on expanding it, so the metro might have expanded since the time I was there. But the cost of the metro and the buses are like around $1. I forgot to mention that they use the US dollars there, so that's why everything I'm saying is in dollars. Buses and the metro are around $1. You can also get, there are these big charter buses that are kind of sort of, I don't want to say illegal, but they're not chartered by the city, but they're completely safe. And so the big charter buses, again, they're like $1, and you can get a really far distance. And what that is there's a lot of people that work within the city, a lot of workers that work within the city but live on the outside of the city. So the people have kind of come together and they created different kinds of transportation systems with these charter buses. There is also another charter system called Diablo Rojo, which is another charter system that has a really long history, and I can get into that in a different video. But those type of kind of non-official transportations will cost you around $1, which is great. The downside of that is like they will like pack the buses, and there's also these like white vans. They will pack them sardine style. So if you are not picky on how you get around, usually if you go to a corner and you see a bunch of people waiting, you know that one of those like unofficial charter buses or unofficial vans are coming. They'll usually be shouting the name of the area that they're going to, so you kind of know where you're going. With Ubers, you can do Uber or taxis. So taxis really depend on officially. Nubia says that a lot of taxis, like a normal tariff, is around $2.50 or $2 to start. Like that's kind of their picking up fee. And it really can range in prices because it is a system that's not. When I was there, it could have changed since I was there, but most taxis and other places have a meter system. So you will, the meter runs to, for a certain amount for the distance that you're going. In Panama, it was not like that when I was there. So you would have to either name your price or they would tell you the price in the beginning. So you'd wave down a taxi, which was not always an easy thing. And then you tell them like, you're going to the mall or you're going to the airport or you're going to the city center, and they would tell you a price. And so here's the thing. They might tell you the price based on you being a tourist, or they might tell you the price that is not quite the local price, but the median price. My very first trip to Panama was like that. It was before the time of Uber and Cabify, which is another app that they use. And I remember I walked up to some taxi, and I asked them like how much to get to somewhere that wasn't that far. And he was like $50. And I was like, yeah, no. So I walked away, and then he called me back and he was like, okay, 10. So you're always ask for the price before you get into the car because you don't want to end up somewhere and having to pay $50 for a ride that really should have cost you 10. Okay, so if you're still watching, thank you. I'm going to go over 2 more aspects of cost of living, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how to better manage your money when you move abroad or when you're traveling, because a lot of the times we get so excited and we want to do all the things, and then our money goes from this to this. So the next thing we're going to talk about is hobbies. So if you're like me and you like to stay active, there are many ways to do that in Panama City. So if you like to stay active and you don't want to put money into a hobby, then there are ways that you can stay active and stay fit for very low cost. And I recommend going to parks like Parque Omar, sometimes the Cinta Costera, or to outdoor locations where they tend to have like outdoor classes, outdoor facilities. I think Park Balboa, also there's like basketball that you can play there. I had a friend that played basketball. There's running, there's sometimes Zumba classes. I did salsa classes, which were the best. And it was it was kind of something that my friend had put together, but it was great because we do about like 3 classes a week, and he only charged, the instructor who became one of my good friends, only charged like $4 or $5 for classes. It was great. Completely underpriced, but because the quality of the class was great. But we did it outside. He could charge that low because we did it outside. He wasn't paying the studio, etc., etc. Later, I did move with my instructor and started practicing at a studio called Solar Latino. Great studio, and they charge about, if you want to do classes, depending on the type of class you want to take, they will charge you about $30 to $40 a month. Again, great quality. And so I think that most dance studios will probably be around that range, maybe a little bit higher depending on where they are located. Sometimes in some neighborhoods, the prices will be higher depending on the cost of living in that neighborhood. In addition, if you like to go to the gym, I've never been a gym person, but according to Nubio, a gym membership will cost you around $50 a month, like to rent in tennis courts, $25 a month. If you want to do yoga, there is a lot more opportunity to do yoga in Panama now than when I had originally moved there. I actually taught yoga. And if you can find someone that can come to you, another version of me that can come to your house and teach, that is a possibility. Or if you're moving to Panama City and you can teach yoga, that can be a job for you. But if you want to go to the studio and you want to do a studio experience, one studio that I went to is called Costco Yoga. Drop-ins are about $18. A 5-class package, which is good for 2 months, is $80. So you can find this all on their website, and I'll link it below. And then a 1-month unlimited is $145. And they are located in Casco Viejo. They are in the center. So they are centrally located. Okay, the last thing we're going to go over before I give you some tips and tricks is going out. So eating at restaurants and like going out for drinks. So according to Nubio.com, it's for 2 people to go out to like a mid-range to expensive restaurant. It'll be about $50. If you want to go to a cheaper restaurant, it'll be around $10, $20. There are wide ranges of restaurants in Panama City. You will have some that are very basic, and you have something special, which I love. It also has it here in Spain, which is called Menú del Día, or Menú del Día. And so pretty much what that is midday, like lunchtime, you can get like a 2-course or a full 1-course meal for around $10, $12, maybe $15, but it's a lot of food, probably less, sometimes $7, sometimes $5, but it's a lot less than you would get like a normal cost of a meal, but it's a lot of food for a low price. Can't say everywhere, but most places. And the good thing about going out for drinks is that beers, especially domestic beers, are around $2 to $53, depending on. You should really never pay more than $4 for a local beer. If you do pay more than that, like I wouldn't visit that establishment anymore. But you have Panama beer, and then you have Balboa. A lot of people prefer Balboa. I liked Panama Verde, or just the regular Panama. It's a lot lighter. When you go out for drinks, I wasn't ever really a big drinker, but most drinks I think are going to be around $6 or $7, depending on where you go. If you go to a more higher class or high-end place, they're going to charge you more, but most drinks I think. Okay, you made it to the end. You're a rock star. Thank you so much for listening. Now here are some tips on how to better manage your money when you just moved abroad, when you're traveling or traveling for a long time, because I hear it all the time, especially with the clients that I have worked with, is that, you know, they get to their country and they have a budget, but then they get excited and they just, you know, they're so excited to be in this new country, and they go out and they spend and they spend and they spend, and then they're like, oh, whoa, where is my money? So here are my suggestions to help you better manage your money. So one is to, if you can, have some residual income coming in. So whether you plan on working or not, have some income coming in, or have an emergency fund that you can't touch. yeah, do that. If you really enjoyed this cost of living video, I did another video with Amina from Amina's Adventures on how she prepared and how she saved up to move to Ecuador, and you can check that out. I'll link it up here. But so yeah, number one is either to have an emergency fund or have some income coming in. The second thing to do is just to really get a lay of the land. I don't know if that's the right expression, but really understand where you are living. Don't just, a lot of the times, you'll just go to the first supermarket that you see, you go to the first store that you see, but really take a minute to walk around, talk to people, ask them where they shop, ask them where the best prices of things, because you don't know until you know. I definitely have made that mistake many times where I spent a bunch of money, and sometimes too we think that we're not spending that much because the prices are usually dramatically lower than in the States or wherever we're from, but we'll realize that we could have gotten more value or more things for our money instead of making. Last two things is be intentional. I say this all the time in a lot of my money mindset videos. It's just be intentional with your money. It's a lot easier to spend and you feel better and you're not questioning yourself so much if you're intentional with where your money is going. And with that being said, let's just be realistic, and you know that you're going to spend a lot of money going out and eating, so just put more money towards that. Last thing. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't already, click the thumbs up and subscribe to more videos. I'm going to be doing a cost of living video on Spain. So I'm really excited to do that and tell you, have a fun grocery shopping experience that I want to share. And yeah, any other questions that you have about travel, money management, and money mindset, then just comment below and tell me what was most helpful to you from this video. That would be great. Ciao for now.